welcome to our first Hippo lecture of the fall. Who has never been to one of these before? Who is like a first-time experience? Great, that's wonderful. Thank you for being here. It goes without saying that you could be doing anything else tonight besides this, but you're here. So that means a lot. Thank you. I'm going to give this kind of like rambling, whatever type introduction. Then Andrew and Elizabeth are going to do the real intro. When I come back, I'll be back in character. And we'll just kind of dive right in. But I just want to describe the Hippo lecture and kind of what I do in general. So first of all, I'm director of intellectual formation here at the Vandal Catholic Center, St. Augustine's. I say without any kind of over-exaggeration, we have an amazing center. It begins with our pastor, Father Chase Hasenrall, Heather and Eric Meyer, everyone in the office, the focus missionaries. And so for intellect, my goal is, which I think all of us, is like striving for excellence. I want it to be the best Catholic center in America. What we do is, and a lot of you, last class actually yesterday was the highest attended class in a while upstairs for the St. Augustine, the year of St. Augustine. We're reading confessions, the syllabus for that is online. That's very serious. Once a week, straightforward Catholic stuff. So too is what a lot of you came to last week, the Spirit and Life. Hippo lectures are not. Not that they're not serious, they're often very bombastic, absurd, over the top, almost kind of crazy. I think this is necessary. I really am making a strong artistic argument for better Catholic writing, better Catholic art. We can't have everyone just be Scott Hahn and go on Matt Fradd and ABC. I founded this foundation. It's very straightforward. All that stuff is really wonderful. I say it with the deepest sincerity, but there has to be Catholic art, Catholic pushing the envelope, whatever it is. So tonight, I'm going to talk about the city of man, the city of God, through the prism of these two people. I won't give away Andrew and Elizabeth's wonderful introduction soon, but these two people on a first date. It's meant to be like crazy and over the top and all that kind of things, just kind of FYI. I could just get to the normal points in a very straightforward lecture. Again, that's not what this is. I've been talking for a long, long time. It's my 6th year now about a novel that was forthcoming for a long time. It's finally out. It's called Thermonuclear Mirth. The dudes who did the cover are amazing. I'm so pumped to them. Many Hippo lectures in the past have been excerpts of this book, but especially what I'm really excited about is a 2-part Hippo that we did last year. It's called Sarah from the Dust Plague. It was published as a little novella. And most importantly, last December, the Hippo Lectures book came out, of which tonight will be the start of a new book, a new chapter, a kind of an Augustine sequel to the Hippo Lectures. I show you that only for the reason that at Intellect, we take that production quality seriously. This is not simply like, oh, let's do this nice talk or whatever. The whole point is, God willing, that the work we do here intellectually would match the stuff the focus missionaries do, Father Chase does, and we really make this kind of like Paris 1200, the best Catholic place on earth. So without further ado, if you welcome the incomparable Andrew and Elizabeth, they will introduce the talk and I'll come back and get started.
All right. Good evening. My name is Elizabeth.
And I'm Andrew. I also sometimes go by Pete.
You can call me Betty.
I also go by Wilson, Davis, and Toblerone.
My family calls me Bunty. Well, except for my great-grandma. She calls me Mom.
Think of me as a 1950s TV dinner dad. Hey, Dolores, this light beer isn't going to refill itself. What time's Twilight Zone on again?
I love watching the Twilight Zone, but only when it's actually twilight. 10 minutes to sundown, count me in. Other times, no. No, thank you.
As Delphine was saying, speaking of watching things.
Right. Thanks, Jeremy. Tonight we have for you the first Hippo lecture of the semester. A story of a man, a woman, a first date, and an unexpected guest showing up with a well-worn copy of St. Augustine's City of God, and off we go.
Horses out the gate, pedal to the metal, Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, models modeling, Greyhound dogs the track, running fast. Spoiler alert, they're trying to win. And this story, should you follow its trajectory to the finish line, will show you how to work towards winning side City of God behaviors while avoiding disqualifying City of Man mishaps along the way.
Sure, thank you, she says, confirming that she would like a cup of coffee on the side. The waiter smiles and walks away. He had chosen the creme brulee, she the mini chocolate cake. It's not typical to share one dessert on a first date, and tonight had proceeded as such. What the future might hold, if anything at all relative to the two of them together, who knew? It was certainly too early to tell. But she ordering coffee along with dessert was a very positive sign, he thought. It was a strong indicator of a person's underlying character. People who order coffee with dessert even 10:30 in the evening, as it was now, the sun having set hours ago, hardly noticeable for the rain obscuring it then, had kept on coming down. And it was coming down now, still hard, pelting the thin-paned windows of this side alley boutique, where the two of them had been given a handsome corner table, flowers on the table, lit candles, because the whole place was illuminated solely by candlelight. That was the theme. And the food had been not bad and the service good, and now it had just about come to an end the whole night, maybe the whole thing. And she had ordered coffee along with their dessert, and people who do this probably appreciate classical music. They most likely take care to get regular exercise. They like large dogs, maybe Rottweilers best of all, would take the time to learn a foreign language to at least a half decent level, and probably don't like superhero movies, pop music, mindfulness, and apps that you can download, upload, or whatever onto your phone. They might not even own a phone. Who knows? He didn't know if she did or did not own a phone. No technology was also one of this restaurant's requirements. At this stage, he was not yet ready to ask for her number, so he didn't know if she owned or did not own a phone. Maybe after the coffee, he'd do it, ask her when she got back, maybe then, for she was momentarily gone. After thanking the waiter, she had excused herself and followed him back towards the bar. He turns his head and sees them still talking, she gesturing with her hands, explaining something about the aforementioned cup of coffee. She's like ordering him about, he thinks, looking at them, laughing. She seems to be commanding him regarding the way the milk must be whipped, that she wants honey, real honey, not imitation sweetener, and it should be poured in and mixed such as this and that, and he can't help feeling his attraction to her build by the second. The way it's like, he's a total idiot. It doesn't matter. He works here. She is the empress of the evening coffee, slow sipped under a steady rain, and it will be this way by my imperial edict. It's great. It's wonderful. That the date was typical does not mean it was bad. Okay plus at minimum, but most likely good. Yes, he assures himself. She probably wouldn't have ordered that coffee if she didn't feel the same way. Good for sure. And the no technology thing was good. They had talked freely and easily the whole night about their former shared profession, the reason they're here anyways, about SEC football, the pros and cons of RV camping in late September, this relative to what if you like to paddleboard on the lake, but is the lake going to be too cold then? And about the best type of postmodern art. Toilet on wall versus I dipped my head in paint and headbutted a wall were the finalists, but they had not reached a consensus. So yeah, good. It had been good, definitely. He turns his head, she's still up there. Now, to the real question, the answer was a resounding yes. Most beautiful woman he had ever seen, most beautiful woman ever. And he was quite good looking himself, no doubt. They had met on the dating site, former models need long-term love too.edu. .edu because the University of Idaho had taken a particular interest in what a sociology professor called the, quote, silent epidemic of single models. Former models, he explained in a wide-ranging interview to the Seattle Times. Our research has found many of them are just too good looking. People, I mean non-models, are often far too intimidated to even speak with them. Models soon fall into a vicious cycle of detachment and isolation. I sincerely believe this is the next public health crisis, and it's already upon us. It's in the public interest that we fix this and fast, and that public funds and the best minds apply themselves to it. Serious discussions were held as to perhaps making the domain name .gov, as a few good proposals argued it was a matter of national security. But yes, .com, no, that will not do. They had both signed up, they matched. They were flown out here to this restaurant in a region both were told is called the Palouse, a land of rolling hills and fertile fields and late summer sunsets almost as good looking as they are, to a restaurant hidden on a dirt road off a main dirt road called the Old Moscow Pullman Highway. And down this first hidden dirt road are a few buildings on something like a side street, a side alley. And here is this, and here they are, and it has not stopped raining, and she has not yet returned. Good looking, the both of them? Well, no doubt, no question. He worked for Gucci for 3 years and then did a rather regrettable 10-month stint as the front man for an experimental Icelandic cologne. One photo shoot required him to stand barefoot on an ice shelf, and it was supposed to take half an hour, but it lasted half a day, and he'd rather just not talk about it. His good looks have something like national absurdity tied to them. You've all heard the story. How he was walking downtown in his small hometown one day, and one woman was so taken by his good looks, she dropped her groceries and sprinted across the street towards him, and was hit in the middle of the street by another woman who was operating a cement truck, who had also been completely distracted by the sight of this man. Luckily, she was okay. It was just a light bump, even by cement truck, dislocated hip, nothing more serious than that. 3 months of physical therapy, and she was right as rain. But you remember the embarrassing rest of the story. How when the mayor asked this man to please no longer show his face in public, she concluded by asking him to consider dating her niece. She's a great girl. You'd love her. 24, graduated from Oklahoma State with a degree in kinesiology 2 years ago. She's very nice. A great baker. I'm sorry, she said, catching herself mid faux pas. I'm sorry, never mind. She, still telling that waiter something about the coffee, still, poor guy, she's really putting him through it now. She has had similar experiences, and so maybe the university is exactly correct in creating this program. Who can understand a former model better than a former model? Maybe the university is onto something. Maybe that sociologist is right. She herself had worked 5 years as a model, and in the center of it all, Midtown Manhattan. Signed after a fierce bidding war between 3 agencies, all of whom were somewhere in the single digits when it came to the best of, the top 10, that kind of thing. And before that, while in her early 20s, she had been named Miss Alabama twice and Miss Tennessee 3 times. The latter crown was not without controversy. Born in Montgomery, she had grown up in Mobile and attended school in Tuscaloosa and had hardly ever set foot in Tennessee. Both times that she won Miss Alabama, it was determined, and here's the official citation, that she was, quote, clearly far above the available candidates in our state, meaning Tennessee, and that, quote, justice required that she be crowned even in absentia. Her Tennessee three-peat was most controversial at all. She was already then living in New York, out of this game anyways. But the governor of Tennessee threatened to withhold all public funds to the university and, quote, let the bridges fall over, let the potholes get as big as the craters on the moon if our girl isn't recognized as the rightful queen of Tennessee. A compromise was eventually reached. The universities got their funding, potholes were filled, creaking bridges reinforced, and she was crowned Miss Tennessee again. Now, finally, she's back. He stands and pushes his chair in because he's ready to take this to the next level, to really lay his heart bare and tell her how he's feeling and, excuse me, turns to his left. Wait, what? Excuse me. The gruff voice says again, he's standing, this man, an old man. Hair all white, posture stooped, rough beard, but a nice mustache. Blue slacks, well faded, wearing a handsome dress shirt buttoned all the way to the top, save for the final button. He looks like an Irish sheepherder who plays the fiddle at the pub on weekends. Do the two of you want to make this night truly special? He says to both of them, now standing in between him and her, and you know what? Thanks, man. Thanks a lot, bro. She had been gone for 1,000,000 years, and I finally worked up the courage, and now you. Here, he says, pulling a small sea green book from somewhere and placing it on the table. The title reads, The City of God. The author is someone named St. Augustine. It's as simple as this, he says, looking back between him and her and motioning at both of them to let them know I'm addressing you and you. It's as simple as this. There is a heavenly city of God, Christ's holy bride, his church on earth, against which the gates of hell, as everyone knows, shall not prevail. And this leading into the eternity is not endless time, but the absence of it, city of God in heaven, the beatific vision beheld by the Blessed Virgin Mary, all the angels and saints, all you holy men and women of God, pray for us. And we should be about that in our daily lives, the city of God. By God's grace, choose that, not the other option, the fallen city of man, filled to the brim, often overflowing with all its avarice, angers, lusts, and lust for domination that, if left unchecked, if not conquered by the city of God, here and now, on earth, I mean, for the eternal victory has already been won once and for all on Calvary. If left unchecked, the city of man leads into the also eternal, also no time, endless time, most bad, truly worst of all bad options, most bad option, hell. So, he says, motioning to them again. Do you want to take a little walk? And I'll talk and you can listen and learn and then later start living this? I mean, like, do these things in your life? He, the male model, says nothing. He doesn't know about all this. He just wants to tell this girl he's probably like actually in love with her. And this guy shows up and, yes, she says, we'll go with you, smiling more at him, the male model, than at the old guy. Her smile puts him, the male model, into a better mood by at least 2, maybe even 300%. And just like that, instantaneously. Excellent, the old man says. First, what are your names? Anna. Mark. I'm LK, the man says, shaking their hands in turn. LeBron, Kobe, McShaughnessy, but you can just call me LeBron. So, LeBron says, what we're going to do is simple. We're going to walk outside and sit down on some wet lentil hill, and I'm going to explain this book to you. I mean, reduce it down to its most fundamental elements and quick. I mean, you can go and, well, like I said, live it. It's basically like this. There are 3 features of the city of man, the bad stuff. And I want you to avoid them. Bad stuff that corrodes the soul, breaks you down and reduces you, even if first slowly, into a shell of your former self, multiplied by many shells, until one day you wake up and you're right there, standing on the precipice of hell itself. Number 1, gossip and calumny and a refusal to mind one's own business. Number 2, cringy political caricatures. Number 3, putting hope in earthly princes, which is the ultimate building your house on sand, not stone thing. Do you understand? Anna was nodding, so Mark did the same. Maybe Anna really did understand and agree. Mark did not understand, so he could not agree or disagree. And all he was thinking about anyways was how good Anna looked in her jacket. And now that they were outside in the cool night air, that he wished LeBron would disappear. Just go away from whence he had come, because although he did not have a ring and nothing close to that, he wanted to get down on a knee and ask Anna a question. But LeBron was sadly not gone. Rather worse, he was leading them out onto that soft lentil hill just outside the restaurant like he said he would. And he motioned for them to sit down, and they did. And wow, I mean, Anna really was truly unbelievably beautiful. And that at least mitigated, reduced, even if only a little bit, his anger at LeBron for interrupting them before and now, whatever this was. The hill was wetter than Mark had anticipated, and now firmly plodded down into the loose soil. His thoughts had shifted, and he could only think one thing. I really hate LeBron. First, LeBron says, standing over them, almost shouting, oh, cool, Mark thought, cool, awesome. He gets to stand, right, we have to sit on the ground, awesome. First, avoid gossip and calumny and mind your own business. St. Augustine said, love God and do whatever you want. What he meant was, if a person is putting God first, living that first commandment, and will be loving his neighbor as himself, and keeping all the other commandments besides, just leave them alone. After that, following those, there is no way to the Father but through Christ, absolutes. It's a lot of relative stuff. There is no best profession, best ice cream, best way to dress, best hobby, best reading group setup, best flowers to put in your garden, best time to water your garden, so on and so forth. Not enough people ever hear this great advice. Shut up and mind your own business. City of God stuff, minding your own business, making the most of your talents. Augustine loved the Bible. He loved the Gospels. You should too. Instead of worrying about what your neighbor is doing, first, shut up. Second, stop. Third, go read the parable of the talents in Matthew 25. And realize God is going to ask you, what have you done with the gifts he gave you? He's not going to ask you, what time did your neighbor decide to mow his lawn? Shut up, mind your own business, get to making the most of your gifts and glorifying God. That's city of God behavior that leads to happiness now and forever. But people, we all of us, so wounded, so open, our concupiscence soars. We love the city of man. So we do mind others' business, criticize relentlessly all they do. Those closest to us, perhaps most, annoying them worst of all. And waste our talents by wasting our time worrying about others and commit sin, so much sin. See the Catechism if you don't believe me, which condemns, in no uncertain terms, calumny, lying about others to others, and detraction, making public others' faults. So much sin by just talking trash about others all the time. If you want to find out if you are more in the city of God or the city of man, ask yourself, do I promote, seek out, and deeply enjoy gossip or no? When you've answered that, you'll have your answer. Mind your own business, Mark thinks to himself. What a hypocrite, LeBron. I mean, he walked right into our business, just about destroying all my dreams, all my hope of love. But wait, hold on, wait. His thoughts stop cold. As he notices Anna, who is sitting about 3 feet from him on this cold, wet hill, is now scooted towards him. And wait, happiness, I just might pass out, black out, he thinks, looking down. We're almost like huddling together or something. Oh man. LeBron breaks in, as he seems wont to do, with second, avoid the very city of man, cringy political caricatures. There are too many of them to count, so I'll keep it brief. Note to all the world, listen, everybody, this presidential or gubernatorial candidate you swear is the next King David or Queen Catherine of Aragon, or worst of all, Batman or something, some kind of superhero riding in to rid whatever problems your Gotham City is afflicted with. They're not. Also, they suck. Also, probably they are liars. Also, probably they got in this whole business because they want to do interviews, meaning like being on TV, wear expensive clothes, feel like they matter. If we all, as Augustine would write, it's that disordered desire for popular acclaim. It's very much a part of our fallen condition too. It's not just the leaders. All of us suffer from this. But yes, look, LeBron says, pausing as he taps on his teal copy of the City of God. Look, be involved in politics. Yeah. Augustine, Aquinas, Pope Leo XIII, Pope St. Pius X, all of them call us to make Christ more present in our societies for sure. As Augustine says in this book, without a transcendent principle in the city of man, it will become more and more man, more fallen, more bad. So yes, Catholics and people of goodwill, please participate, vote, maybe even run for office if you're called to it. But can you please, and with this, we'll know you aspire to citizenship in the city of God. Can you just be like, I'm voting for blank because he is the lesser of two evils compared to blank, or I'm voting for blank because she overall better represents my values than blank. That's it. Simple and without the, I'm voting for blank because he's amazing. He's like Pericles and he's so wise and amazing and pterodactyls. Because LeBron says, and both of us, Anna and me, can now tell he's really getting worked up. Because when I hear city of man stuff like this, I go off the handle, even to myself, interiorly, I mean. Outside, I'm smiling, trying to be polite. Inside, it's please, no, 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 please stop, 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 stop. Where is a big, thick branch? No, 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 please stop. Either shut up or just beat me with the stick over and over again. Shut up, stop, please, no. And this, cringy political caricatures lead into third and finally, the final marker of the city of man. Putting hope in earthly princes. This one is connected to and flows from the second. Those who frame any candidate in the most florid praises and imagine him or her as the solution to so many ills, having declared this in cringy caricature, will soon graduate to building edifices of imagined grandness around them, until you get, sure, maybe far down the road, but frog in boiling water, the Stalin-like or Mao-like titles of deferential sycophantism. The leader you exaggerate and then drool over will repay your service by giving you what you actually want, what your actions have clearly bespoken, a total and complete tyranny over you and yours. And then finally, LeBron says, now holding his index finger up and waving it side to side, finally comes the great punchline here. The person fails because people fail. Even the grandest princes fail, for they are not God. Sand, not stone, is what all of them build with, but as for you, choose stone. Build your house, your politics, your all on Christ and his church, nothing else. Now that's city of God stuff. And we should be about that. And as often and as much as possible, would you like a quick recap? Mark can say nothing at this moment. He has, maybe for the first time ever, glimpsed true happiness. Sometimes something like 30 seconds ago, or maybe 45 seconds ago, who's counting, Anna had eliminated all the distance between them and just wrapped her arm around his arm, cuddled up and next to him properly, even dropped her head onto his shoulder. It was still there on his shoulder. And so he knew Mark did at that moment, yes, 100%. The date must have gone really, really good. And her hair smelled like the freshest alpine forest after 2 inches of early winter snow. And her eyes were as deep and clear as Flathead Lake. And her smile, her ears, even her earlobes were of a beauty beyond compare. And so thinking of only two things, love and the fundamental beginning of happiness, Mark burst out into song. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X. Mark, what are you doing? Anna asks. Oh, sorry. For so transfixed was he that he really had not noticed that he'd been singing out loud. What was that? LeBron says. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm good. Yep. So like I was saying, LeBron continues, would you like a recap of what I just told you? Mark couldn't care less about anything. Whatever, LeBron, whatever, dude. Sure, go ahead. But then Anna squeezed his arm and cuddled even closer and said, we'd love a recap, LeBron. Excellent. So just remember then the advice of St. Augustine, these 3 tips concerning the city of God and the city of man. And then it's like the 7 vices and their corresponding virtues, something like avoid pride, be humble, avoid lust, be chaste, okay? Mark and Anna nod. Avoid the first city of man pitfall of gossip and calumny and refusal to mind one's own business. Instead, don't worry about your neighbor at all, except to pray for him and wish him well and help him if he needs help when you can help. And minding your own business will mean minding the things, especially the talents God has given you to serve him and others and be happy yourself. Be about those city of God things and avoid cringy political caricatures. Instead, vote your conscience, vote for a better world now and forever. But no, it's just that, a vote. You did your part, great. But the things of this passing world are indeed ever passing. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my word will not pass away. Amen. And so just participating in politics minus anything more will serve God and man all the better. We'll put a little more city of God into the city of man. And finally, this attitude will keep you safe from city of man pitfall number 3, putting hope in princes. No, if you've made it this far in the advice ledger and kept true to the path I've laid out for you, I know you only put your hope, your final hopes, in Christ and nothing else. Praise God. Now, LeBron says, throwing the book sky high, high into the Palouse night sky and catching it quite athletically, actually, on the way down. What would you like to do? What now? Mark doesn't hesitate. I want to marry Anna. What happens next is to be filed under the truth is stranger than fiction files for sure. If it didn't really happen, you wouldn't believe me, but it did. And here it is told in the simplest and most straightforward way possible. For sometimes just the facts, thank you very much, is the best way to tell a story. As soon as Mark said, I want to marry Anna, Anna jumped up and put a ring on her own finger and said to him, I'll take that as a proposal. My answer is yes. And she explained that she had been talking to the bartender for so long because he was also the ring bearer. And where was that ring? Then he finally found it. And that's when she had come back to their table and she told him that prior to their date, here tonight on the Palouse. Thank you, former models need long-term love to.edu. Anna had seen some of his modeling photos from the Iceland Fjord fashion shoot, and she had resolved from the first shot, I will marry this man one day if it's the last thing I do. At that moment, Mark wanted to call Iceland, the whole country, and just express his gratitude. But then wait, Mark said, we can't just do this. We need a priest. And then LeBron smiled and informed them that he was in fact Father LeBron, Kobe McShaughnessy, OSB. And then Father LeBron told him to walk a little further into the night, and right over a hill, there was a church. The church was packed full with guests, all models, all waiting for Mark and Anna in this seemingly impromptu wedding that to this point was going off like planned and prepared for a long time. And think about that. Most weddings and the guests, they have people who are good looking. It depends on your type. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And if you don't have something nice to say, better say nothing at all. But these guests, being all models, meant it was by far the best looking wedding in all of human history. And whether Mark and Anna are happy now, like happily ever after or not, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know if they're happy or not. I hope they are. I am sure about this one thing, though. If you become friends with them, never, ever find yourself in a photo with them. I want you to be happy too. Believe me. Believe me, I do. And if you and your spouse or significant other find yourself in a photo alongside them, and then you see that later, your self-esteem is going to take a significant pummeling. An old school West Texas beating. Have a good and high sense of self-worth? Well, you used to anyways. Don't do that to yourself. Avoid that. Avoid city of man things. Seek the city of God. And be assured that seeking first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, God will give you all good things besides. Thank you.